Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Carl with Active English. Today I wanted to talk about American food. All right, specifically, what did I learn about American food from my foreign students? Okay, so I've been teaching English for almost 19 years to students who are studying abroad in the United States, in New York City and Boston. These are students from all over the world, and without exception, my students complained about the same three things about American food. Okay, so I heard these same complaints again and again and again. I do think these 3 points that my students made are really important, and they're contributing to the obesity epidemic in the United States. So what did my students tell me? Okay, number one, my students, without exception, no matter where they were from, told me that American food was just too sweet. Okay, many of my students from Japan, they were shocked. They were shocked in the beginning, like when they had an American donut or a brownie or a cookie in the cafeteria. They just couldn't eat it. It was just too sweet. Now, usually after 5 or 6 weeks, they would get acclimated and they started to feel like, well, American food tastes normal. But for the first 5 or 6 weeks, they just were shocked. It was like too sweet. And by the time they got acclimated, they also told me that they were starting to gain weight. They were starting to put on the pounds as they got used to the sweet American food. Now, this was also reported to me by my students in New York City. These are a bit older students from South Korea, from China, also from like European countries, France, Spain, South American countries like Colombia and Peru. My students reported the same thing, that the American food was just so much sweeter, like everything. I'm not just talking about donuts and cookies. I'm talking about like the peanut butter, right? The peanut butter has added sugar. Salad dressing, added sugar. Okay, bread, sometimes bread has added sugar. American food industry is adding sugar to like almost everything, and as American people, we've gotten used to it. We don't notice that everything is so sweet, but my students absolutely noticed how sweet the American food was. I remember I took my students in New York City on a field trip. We went to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and after the trip was over, I took them down to the cafeteria and treated them to some dessert. I bought donuts and brownies for them, and I was just chowing down, having a great time, enjoying those donuts, enjoying those brownies, and I looked up and I noticed none of my students were eating. They just couldn't eat it. They just said, I'm sorry, it's too sweet. Like it really did not taste good to them, these donuts and these brownies, which tasted wonderful to me as an American. So I do suspect that American food is too sweet compared to food in other countries. Okay, again, I heard that across the board from all my students. American food, just too sweet. Okay, so that was point number one. Point number two, my students all told me the portion sizes were enormous. Okay, these are students in Boston. They would go to the Cheesecake Factory, or they go to the pizza place, or they go to the movies, and they'd order like a small Coke or a small Pepsi, and they get these like giant fountain drinks, or a medium popcorn. It was like the same as like a large popcorn in Japan. There's something about American culture where we love excess. I don't know where this comes from. I don't know if this is the frontier culture. I don't know if we all, we come from this very strict religious Puritan tradition going back to Boston, and we all feel like we're just not going to get enough of stuff. So now we're compensating by just going nuts and giving everybody giant portion sizes. I don't know what it is, but there's something to American excess. Everything we do it big. We do it enormous. We do it huge, okay? Including American food. Why is it so big? And then as an American person myself, I grew up with this sort of idea of like, don't waste food, right? Don't waste food because somebody is starving somewhere, so you should not throw away food. Don't waste food. So I go to the Cheesecake Factory and they give me this giant plate, and I just subconsciously, I feel like I have to eat it. I know it's crazy, but it's operational in my subconscious. And I think a lot of American people, we feel the same way, don't waste food. But then the restaurant gives you these giant portions because in American culture, bigger is better, okay? So why? I don't know why. I'm not sure the reason, but I do know all of my students reported that American portion size is just out of control. It's enormous, okay? So that was point number two that I heard from all my students, again, from Asian countries, European countries, and South American countries. So that's point number two. Point number three, many of my students were surprised how essential sweets were to so many American celebrations, right? We had, if there was like a workplace event, for the teachers, we would roll out a cake, roll out some donuts. Somebody had a birthday, you get a birthday cake. If my students would go to like an American host family's house, the host family would give them donuts, or give them sweets, give them cookies. And they felt like there was almost this sort of social pressure, like they were expected to eat those cookies. They didn't want to be rude, they didn't want to be impolite, so they didn't want to say no to their host family as they, brought out these giant, very sweet cookies. We celebrate so many special events in the United States with sweets. In Japan, for New Year's, one of the central dishes is osechi, right? Osechi is not sweet. It's relatively healthy. But in American holiday traditions, sweets, cookies, donuts, chocolates, they're so essential to almost all holiday traditions. And it's like a way of expressing love in so many American families. So many of my Japanese students would report that they had a special family recipe that was passed down from one generation to the next, but it was usually something healthy, like osechi. But in American families, and again, this is just anecdotal, but most of my friends, when I ask them, did you grow up with a special family recipe? And they say yes, it's usually for some kind of cookie, some kind of sweet, some kind of special cake that they learned from their grandmother. So again, American people, we seem to have more of a focus on sweets for our celebrations, for our holiday traditions. It's very hard if you're trying to lose weight, okay? Because we celebrate almost every holiday with sweets. Think about October, there's Halloween, so we have Halloween candy. November, you've got Thanksgiving, so you've got apple pie, you've got pecan pie, you've got pumpkin pie. Here comes December, you've got all those Christmas cookies. And now, I'm not complaining, I'm just pointing out. Now, January, New Year's, we give chocolate, right? And then you get into Valentine's Day, and there's chocolate. So again, not complaining, I don't have a problem with it, I'm just making an observation. As someone who has tried to lose weight, I find it to be especially challenging during those winter months, when everybody's going inside, when the weather gets kind of cold and gloomy and dark, and we all want that comfort food, and then every single holiday, people are wheeling out some cookies or some donuts or some, chocolate. And then when we have a workplace event, it's a staff celebration, Teacher Appreciation Day, somebody is baking a cake. Again, I'm not complaining, I'm just pointing out American culture. Food, sweets, especially sweets, are so essential to our expression of love, our expression of appreciation, and it's not that way in every other country. Again, my Japanese students told me that in their workplaces, they did have, staff appreciation days, but it wasn't based around sugar, okay? Again, just anecdotal evidence, but I did hear this across the board from all of my students. Number one, American food is too sweet. Number two, the portion size is too big. And then number three, we celebrate so many special events with sugar, okay? Now, again, I'm not judging how people eat. It's totally up to you. It's a personal decision. I'm not trying to fat shame anybody, but I do think that there is a problem in the United States with obesity. I think that's fair to say. There's a high rate of obesity in the United States compared to other countries, and I do think these three factors are contributing to that. So again, those are some insights that I picked up from my students about American food. Not complaining, not judging, just making some observations. All right, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you have a wonderful day. This is Carl with Active English. I'll see you guys later. Bye.